Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret.
And Mr. President, it is shamefully, utterly outrageous that the President is considering pardons for these rioters who broke the law, attacked our police officers on January 6th. Pardoning the criminals who assaulted police officers and tried to halt the democratic process would be a dangerous endorsement of political violence. It would send a message to the country and to the world that those who use force to get their way will not be punished. It is wrong, it is reckless, and it would be an insult to the memory of those who died in connection that day. On that day, the rioters tried to halt the peaceful transfer of power, but as we know, they failed. The insurrection failed because our democracy is stronger than the gale force winds of mob violence. The rioters failed that day because Democrats and Republicans were united amidst a storm of utter lawlessness.
All right, hey everybody. Sorry, I decided to go early just a little bit because we got old Chucky Schumer here running his suck, saying all sorts of. He's trying to basically stoke the fires of J6 and make a public statement. So we're going to listen to him. Also, just FYI, the House is in session, but they are in a recess at the call of the chair. So that's expected to happen around 12:55. I'll keep all the stuff running. Also, if you guys like the phone number down there, that is the actual phone number to U-Haul. Notice the numbers kind of mean something, and the actual U-Haul kind of means something. So get a little giggle out of that. Let's turn this on.
And committed to finishing the job of certifying the election. As hard as January 6th was, it will be one of the proudest moments as hard as January 6th was, it will be one of my proudest moments.
Your hands
in
out of your
office.
pockets, loser.
Because on that day, the majority of us united to uphold our oaths to the Constitution. I still remember that around 5 p.m. that day, Leader McConnell, Speaker Pelosi, Leader McCarthy, and I gathered and said, "We are going back into session
when he's
now,
done running
and
his
we are
suck, I'll say hi to
going
everybody.
to count the votes." We decided this despite the worries of some that the Capitol was not yet safe. And we did. We were not going to let the rioters interfere with our democracy. It was a historic moment of bipartisanship, where both sides united.
The new mug should be in between today and Wednesday.
Of our democracy. Mr. President, I mentioned January 6, 2021, for many reasons.
There's your loser.
I mentioned January 6th to remind everyone that democracy is precious and can at times be a fragile thing. I mentioned January 6th to set the record straight for all coming time, so that future generations may know the truth of what happened on that day, and that they remain vigilant against future attacks on our democracy. I mentioned January 6th to warn this generation and future generations of the immense dangers that arise when election denialism is tolerated and excused and propagated. We can never, ever again allow the level of unhinged election denialism to happen. Not from Republicans, not from Democrats, not from anyone. And we are setting an example today. Even though the elections did not go Democrats' way, I want to be very clear. On this January 6th, our side will not engage in election denialism.
Completely true, Bullseye. Completely true. West Virginia Pappy.
What's up, bro? We accept the results even when we don't like them, because our loyalties lie with the Constitution and with the rule of law. We hope what happens today, rather than what happened 4 years ago, stands as a shining example for future generations of how one conducts themselves in a free democracy. We hope that the way we Democrats conduct ourselves today helps those Republicans who tried to subvert the election of 4 years ago understand the grave nature
they're just
of their
doubling
mistake.
down. They're doing what they always do. They just double down.
Far too many on the other side, far too many, willingly claim the election of 2020 was stolen, even though they knew perfectly well it was not. Of course, I know plenty of my Republican colleagues, including my friend, the former Republican leader, did not participate in the attempts to undermine an election 4 years ago, but too many did.
What's up, William Smith?
If we want to prevent another attack
What's up,
like
Cole?
January 6th, neither side can ever again tolerate the kind of conspiratorial madness we saw
I think
4
there's some
years
truth
ago.
to that, Cole. I
And
don't
it
know if I
starts
would
by
go so
setting
far
an
as to involve
example
Israel,
and doing the right thing
but
today.
we are
No
in the
matter
middle
which
of a
side got their
we're in the
way
middle
in the
middle of
electoral
a psyop
process.
that's happening right now
On this, the
between
4-year
intelligence
anniversary
and
of the Capitol attack,
intelligence
the only
operations that are happening
obstruction we will
inside the
see
United States.
is the obstruction coming from the storm. Even then, Mother Nature will not be able to stop us from doing our jobs today. Today we will convene, we will do our jobs, and then we move on to the business of governing for the American people, because that is what our oaths demand of us. I yield the floor.
He's such a flaming idiot. You know, I take that back. He's not an idiot. He's extremely intelligent. Problem is he's freaking evil, man. The guy is evil. All these big speakers on that side, they're all freaking evil. Not joking. You can't sit there. You know, they always say it's always about it's either ignorance or arrogance. This guy's not ignorant to the facts, so that means he's being arrogant. You know, just going out of his way, just saying stuff that he knows is not completely true, just doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on total lies. You know, all because they can get away with it while they're standing there on that floor making those statements. They can say anything they want, and they cannot be held legally responsible for it. What's up? What's up, MJ? Mr. J. MJ. Um, I heard he's on Epstein's lists. I believe it. I believe it. All right. So you guys know, I do have multiple windows fired up right now. For instance, there's the house right there. Like I said, it's still in recess right now, but they will be coming back. We've got a few other things rolling right now. Keep that sound running in the background, but I did want to educate a few people on a few things. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. It's about 3.5 minutes, and I think it will give some edification.
Tomorrow is January 6th, the day the House and the Senate must come together to certify
Obviously,
the
that's
Electoral
today.
College votes. In this case, that means we are likely going to see President-elect Trump's victory certified. And because of a new law, there probably won't be as much drama as we saw back on January 6, 2021. But lawmakers still have the right to challenge a state's slate of electors, so anything can happen. Here's what you need to know about what's about to go down tomorrow. After the November election, now President-elect Donald Trump secured 312 electoral votes, and Vice President Harris secured 226 electoral votes. Here is the electoral map. So just a few weeks ago, all the real electors met in every single one of these states and cast their official electoral ballots to correspond with each of the numbers that you see. And then those certified electoral votes from the states get transmitted to Washington, D.C. And on January 6th, the Congress meets in a joint session to count and certify those votes. And the vice president, who also serves as the president of the Senate, is required to preside over that entire process. The law that governs that process is called the Electoral Count Act. It was established in 1887. But if you remember back to 2021, after then President Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden, Trump and his lawyers tried to argue that that 1887 law was vague and there was some wiggle room that would allow for Vice President Mike Pence to not certify the electoral votes on January 6th and instead send them back to the states. You remember that. Mike Pence famously told Trump he did not have that power. Mike Pence did not send the electoral votes back to the states. there was a riot at the Capitol, and you know the rest of that story. Well, what you might not know, even though I did report it here on this page when it happened, was in 2022, Congress updated that 1887 law. A bipartisan group of Democrats and Republicans passed, and President Biden signed into law, the Electoral Count Reform and Presidential Transition Improvement Act. That new law ensures that there would be no more questions and no more wiggle room in how lawmakers are required to count and certify electoral votes on January 6th. Not only did the Electoral Count Reform Act clarify that the vice president's role in counting those electoral votes is purely ceremonial, it also increased the threshold that has to be met before any lawmaker can challenge any state's slate of electors. Under the 1887 law, all it took to challenge a slate of electors was one House member and one senator to join forces, and just the two of them could challenge an entire slate of electors from any state they wanted. But under the updated law, it now takes 1/5 of the House and 1/5 of the Senate to come together to challenge any state's slate of electors. For the record, the law also requires that only one slate of electors can be transmitted to Congress from any given state. If you remember back to 2021, there was those alternate slates of electors or fake electors transmitted to Congress on top of the real ones. So the new law forbids that from happening. So the question now is, will there be any challenges made to any state's slate of electors tomorrow? We're going to have to watch and see what happens in Congress.
All right. And then what I also wanted to do was talk to you guys. Everybody's a little worried about things that are happening in the area, so let's go ahead and check this one out.
Today, fencing and barriers around the U.S. Capitol, 4 years after a mob of pro-Trump forces attacked it, stopping the counting of Electoral College votes and delaying the certification of Joe Biden's victory.
The eyes of the world will be on the United States Capitol to see what happens here on January 6th.
This time, a clear perimeter established around the Capitol complex, police shutting down multiple streets for tomorrow's midday proceedings, where Vice President Kamala Harris will oversee the counting of President-elect Trump's 312 Electoral College votes and her own defeat.
Everybody,
Unlike
I got you.
in 2021, when prominent Republicans objected to the results, tomorrow
there will be no election denying on the part of the Democratic caucus.
We're going to see what happens.
This weekend, Trump on stage at Mar-a-Lago still admonishing his former Vice President Mike Pence for not rejecting Electoral College votes 4 years ago.
Those votes could have been sent back as they should have been able to.
Trump speaking at an event Saturday night that included some of his most prominent backers in those efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
To take down, but
those allies who also spoke
I think
included
they're just
Jeffrey
to
Clark,
get people to,
John Eastman, Rudy
pay attention to
Giuliani,
them.
Peter Navarro, and Michael Flynn. Trump giving each man a shout-out from the stage.
What they've done there, Rudy, but Rudy's going to come out on top. It's just a question of time. I don't.
Vaughn Hilliard is joining us now. And Vaughn, we talked about the weather heading to Washington. So what if that snowstorm keeps some members of Congress from making it to the chamber tomorrow to vote?
Right, Hallie, there is a very minimal chance of impact on this process unless half of Congress is not able to make it in. And even then, there is no apparent widespread plan among Democrats to object to these results. Hallie?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
That's enough of that. That's enough of that. Let's go back to the Senate. It's like the Senate, they're all just rabble-rousing around right now. At any time during this live stream, guys, if you didn't know this, my girlfriend has cancer, and I kind of take care of her. And so she literally just ordered, not a joke, not a joke. Let me cover that right there. Not a joke. She literally just said, where's it at here? I'd like to order a hot dog with ketchup, mustard, and relish from anywhere, and some Western fries from Rofo. Like I'm gonna go driving all the way around town to find these things. That's insane. That is just insane. All right, let's see here. Appreciate it, Pilgrim. Appreciate it, ma'am. The map is wrong.
least you could do.
You're not full up cancer. You are not full up cancer yet.
Just drive over.
That is not going to happen.
That's just wrong.
She's like got a huge smile on her face and stuff. She's not fooling anybody. What's up, William? Let's see. Donald Trump has been out on bonds since August when he posted to bail through foster bail bonds in Lawrence, Georgia. Any American can easily verify this. T, you know, you sounded a little trollish, but that's okay. Everybody's welcome here. Oh, let me ask you a question. What's your effing point? What's your point? Make a point, bro. Make a point. Speak intelligently. Don't make me talk with the tilt in my head like this. Don't make me go full chicken head on your ass. Prepared Irishman, what's going on, Broseph? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, that's currently what they are doing. Let's see if we can find something else that's going on right now. Minimize. We got the live house. What's the house is still locked at 12:04. So in like 9 minutes, they should do something in 9 minutes. Something to. Oh, what's that? What we got here? The Senate's doing something.
Under the provisions of S-Con Res 2,
this is the Senate, guys.
will proceed as a body to the hall of the House of Representatives.
You didn't miss anything, Bradley. What's up, Bob? Percent Miko will fix up the city and 1 or 2 places upstate. Gotcha. Yeah, it's actually been pretty well known, and it's very scary for Democrats because if you get out of New York City, if you get out of Albany, the whole state's red. You know what I'm saying? It's very similar in North Carolina. North Carolina is basically a giant red map, and it's got these blue blips that go across it in all the major cities. You know, so that's why they said that that's always gone purple. 'Cause, you know, it's hard to tell what's happening these days. But looks like we got some peoples coming in here. They're doing something. They're setting some stuffs up. I'm not sure exactly what. I honestly don't know the significance of anything happening in the Senate today. If you do, please put it in the chat. Also, guys, this is a great time. If you are going to, if you would not mind, hit that thumbs up button. It helps to draw people in. Before these yahoos start walking down the aisle, and if you know the deal, you know the deal. We're going to feed the algorithm, guys. If you love your country, not your government, but if you love your country, put a number 1 in the chat. Okay, I'm going to drink some chai tea. We're going to talk some smack. We're going to watch this possible dumpster fire that our government is. And if you haven't heard, Trudeau actually resigned today. But it's very the way their government works is very weird. Hopefully no suitcases. I know, Samantha. I know. But I think security is a little higher than that. But anywho, yeah, Trudeau stepped down today. Supposedly, I don't exactly know how their government works. I mean, we shall see what happens. We're going to see what happens because nothing is for sure. This is right up there with Mr. Raskin with his plan to, stop, Trump from being the president. I don't know if he'll try it today. I don't know. All of the major news carriers are all mimicking the same words that, or should I say, parroting all the same words about there's no plan to stop the certification today. And when that happens, well, and oh, by the way, as we were watching earlier, they actually changed the law, so it's more difficult. You just can't just challenge any damn thing you want. You've got to there's a more strict criteria that's more focused on consensus versus one moron's attitude. Because what they'll do is they'll plan it out. They'll be like, okay, these 10 people, we're all going to say something bad, but only one of us are going to do it one at a time, so we can try and wear them down and be all stupid stuff. And you remember the last certification, the last J6, that took them into the evening hours after starting in the middle of the day. So they do it purposely just to be torturous, mean, and foolish is what this comes down to. Now, I think what's happening, if I get my brain housing group wrapped around this, is that they're lining up to move over to the Senate. They're going to be doing a joint get together. All right, T, what's T got to say? Republicans desperately want to put a convicted felon who is out on bail into the White House. Exclamation points. Someone who has found libel for sexual abuse, business fraud. Congrats on your big accomplishment. You still really haven't actually like made a point. These are you like 12, T? T, do me a favor. Just put like a couple of numbers in the chat, like how old you really are, because you're posting like a 22-year-old pretend know-it-all. You're like a college sophomore who thinks that everybody's less than them, because you made it through your first year when 60% of people drop out of college after in their first semester. Okay, so it's interesting. It would be interesting. Did you really just have to correct yourself? Is that what happened, T? Come on, man. Put your age. Put your age in the chat. We all want to know. Reach down, grab whatever it is, give it a quick squeeze so you know you're alive, and just put your age in the chat. Come on. I dare you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you. Come on. You can't walk away from a dog dare bet. I know this government is messed up when they publicly acknowledge encouragement of euthanasia. Oh yeah, Canada's no joke. The running joke. So here's the running joke. Some would say that technically Canada still is owned by the British royal family. And apparently the paperwork's right on that one. It's pretty interesting. So when the government, if they don't have a prime minister, and if they don't have, and he put his government on furlough, okay, until March, right? Then technically they have both no national or international representation. They don't have a government. Canada doesn't have a government right now. So literally the British royalty, what's the other name? There's another name for royalty. Could literally send some people over to run the country. In the absence of a government, blah, blah, blah. Isn't Disney under British rule? I have no idea, West Virginia, Pappy. That is too deep of a rabbit hole for me, my friend. Totally too deep. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and scroll up. Well, I guess T's under 30 is what I'm guessing. So, let's see here. Either that, what they do is they work channels. These nutbag lefties. They can't realize what they've done is wrong. What they do is they'll work a channel. They'll literally copy and paste what they've stated or what they've posted from one channel to the next. So, and they think that they're somehow getting the word out. They're spreading the good word. They think they're doing something. They're not. They're not. Now, T, you're completely welcome here. You really are. I will engage with you until you break the only rule, and that's be a dick. And you haven't done that yet. So you are still very welcome to be here. By the way, if you guys did notice it, it's not a joke. So my message to Captain Blue Tie is 1-800-46-U-Haul. Now, here's the funny thing. I was like, there's no way this is right. So I looked up their phone number, and their phone number starts with the 46, okay? And then if you actually type the numbers, okay, into your phone, you got the letters on the phone. It'll actually like tell you what the letter is that corresponds to the number. That is actually it. 46, as in President number 46, which would be Captain Blue Tie, and then U-Haul. 100% true. Fact check that one. I dare you. Is Canada becoming a state? I hope not, Samantha. I hope not, because Canada is basically, their government is all socialist right now. They say liberal, but that's just code word for socialist. And so literally what we would have is you'd end up with more seats, more liberals being seated in the Senate and the House. And then Republicans would never win another election. So I hope not. But the counter to that is, okay, well, if you become this, then you will dissolve your government. You will take on a United States, a state government, and we will be until elections can be ran correctly. Because you have to remember that Canadians are more progressive than Americans, okay? And they are that reason because of the Second Amendment, because of the First Amendment, because of our Constitution. And we don't have a parliament, which is mob rule, okay? So it would be interesting to see it happen, but I think it would bring more problems than it's worth. Then there's the whole talk about, like, what is it? We're going to buy Greenland or Newfoundland or some one of those lands, and it's I believe it when I see it, which is a good thing. I got you. I got you. All right. I'm not seeing anything wild in the chat. You guys want to put something in the chat to talk about? Do me a favor, do that now while we watch these numbskulls do stuff. You know what I can do? Let's try this. I'm going to try and do something. I don't know if it's going to work, to be honest with you. So we're going to go like this. Cha. Okay. And then we're going to go. Oh, crap. That didn't work. Latest analysis CB. Oh, yeah, that might be it right there. And then we're going to go to no, that's not it. By the way, there's the Capitol right there, guys. That's the Capitol right now. It's live. It's 28 degrees and snowy there. And there's the house. I wish I could make this bigger without it. What's this? Is it pop out? What is that? Picture in picture and then nope, that didn't work at all, did it? Sometimes these things are just, you know what I could do? Hold on a second here. Let's do this. YouTube. I don't think the Senate camera is going to stay live for very long. Senate live. Maybe we can catch them on. No, no, it's not going to work. I don't think they're going to stay live for very long, to be honest with you, because they're going to be moving over to the House side. So, well, let's see. Miko says, try some chunga mushrooms. It's grown on birch trees. The white stuff on the chunga mushroom other foreign countries use to cure cancer. I can't make this stuff up. Coffee or change tea. Well, the only reason I drink tea, are you talking one? Oh, you're talking about the girlfriend. I appreciate it. We have had people doing the craziest things, throwing products at us. I went and bought a whole regime from somebody that I know that actually works in this industry and is reputable. And right now, we're going with chemo. We're going with the chemo. Now, if you're talking about me and the tea, I stopped drinking coffee. I'm not completely weaned off of it, to be honest with you, but I stopped drinking it as much as I used to because coffee is not in my diet. Jägermeister. There you go. That's how you get right, man. Let's see here. Where are we at here? Sounds like the U.S. makes territory states already like Puerto Rico and Guam. Yeah, but that's just it. They have representation in Congress, and that doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. Annex Doggerland. Trust me, it's a long game thing. Okay. I don't know what Doggerland is, but it is what it is. I wonder if Trump will abolish the ATF and NFA. I want to run in 2028 and abolish gun laws and regulations and outlaw lobbying and insider trading. Bro, well, we do need regulations. The problem is that these regulations are just out of control. The people that are in charge of them, they're unelected bureaucrats that are. Here's the funny thing about regulations and unelected bureaucrats. Whenever something like crazy happens, like when the new overlord comes in, when Captain Red Tie steps in there and says, "You're fired," he doesn't even have to because they all instantly retire, or before he takes office, they all disappear. You got the what is it? The director of the FBI, he's leaving. The DOJ, he's leaving. It's pretty crazy. Another insurrection, Two Truth for Liberty. I don't recognize you. Make sure you guys, hey, for all you new people, do me a favor. Make sure you hit those subscribe buttons because I am live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I do make other videos. So make sure you do that. It would be greatly appreciated and helpful. Where are we at here? I got a little bit more in this chat. Proud to say I have a convicted felon for a president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. 47th president. Suck it up, Buttercup. Yeah, the thing is, it's like these people that we have, believe it or not, we have like mayors that are convicted felons. All right, looks like they're moving over to be seated in the House. There's normally some camera someplace that shows them walking through the middle of the building. But that's literally what that arch is, or that giant towerish thing that you see when you look at the Congress. It's just a giant open room. But and you got these people that just like turn their lives around. You know what I'm saying? And then you like respect them. But that whole labeling of felon is such a joke. It's like it's like what these are once again the death throes of a dying animal. You know what I'm saying? That is all these little blurbs, and it's funny too because every time they throw one of them at us, you know, I think you remember when it was like you're a racist. Oh, really? So I crossed the street the wrong way. You're a racist. I drank my coffee the wrong way. You're a racist. You remember all that? And they just overplay their hand. You know what I'm saying? When they try to steal. I tell you the one thing that
The House
gets
come
me.
to order.
Well, look at there. The House is going to be coming to order here in a second. We'll switch screens in a second. But oh, they're at the doorway. That's why they're going to.
The Vice President and the United States Senate.
Blum, 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 loser, blum, 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 blum. Why are all the staffers coming in first? Why are all these 12-year-old kids coming in first? I'm hoping Trump will make all 50 states constitutional carry. Nope. Dude, that would be unbelievable. What's up, Rosita? Good to see you, Rose, my friend. And I thought I made you, Rose, I thought I made you, I thought I gave you the band hammer over here. Where are we at here? That is a moderator. Standard moderator. Chicka-cha. There you go. There you go. Rose, post something now. Show him your hammer. I'm not really content. I just grow cannabis weed and show it. Boom! Banhammer in the house. Yeah, I thought Rose, you were a moderator over here as well. I guess you weren't, but now you are. You want a wrench? I'm sorry, Bullseye. I haven't known you that long. There's at least a 3-year courtship process before I start handing out wrenches. Staffer carrying the votes. I would believe that. I didn't notice, but I would believe that. All right, so we're gonna make this bigger. It's nothing I've ever heard before. Anywho, shata. Let's throw that over there. Let's see. Freedom Nugget. Gotta buy him dinner and a movie, mofo. Come on. Long walks on the beach. You gotta rub my back. Tell me everything's gonna be fine, and then of course follow up with, just let it happen. I have the power. I have the power. So these guys are gonna be like, they're all like, Chucky Schumer, which is he's always got his hands in his pockets, like he's gonna give somebody a quarter. You know what I'm saying? He's looking for a kid to like throw. Take this nickel, go buy a car with it. I'll wine and dine for a wrench. I need to check the poll. If you guys haven't put something in the poll, I'll change this poll several times, but just so we can have fun with it. But can we expect Democrats to try and stop the counting? 59% say yes, 20% say no, and 20% say maybe so. I didn't know what else to put for the third one, but it's like yes, no, maybe so. If you're old enough, you know where that came from. But yeah, 50 votes, 58% believe. We got here loose candies in his pocket. Yeah, it's Mr. Butterworth. He's got stock in Mr. Butterworth. Am I saying that right? What are the butterscotch candies? Is that Butterworth? Mr. Butterworth. That just sounds like that sounds Werther's Originals. There you go. I think Mr. Butterworth is like what do they call that? Syrup. Brock's. There you go. Plumbing issues need to stop the count. Oh, I remember that one. I remember that one. Butterscotch hard candies. There you go. Syrup. Yes, Freedom McNugget. Got you. Freedom Nugget 74. I guess T left the room. I guess T hasn't said anything in a while, man. Come on, T. Say something smart. I dare you. Say something intelligent. I really want to hear from you. Watch these guys. Oh, frickin' Tim Kaine. You see Tim Kaine walk through the road? He's such a turd. You know what's funny? Is you see all the Republicans like greeting people. So all the people on that line that are standing there, they're all Republicans. All the people that are to the north of that they're all Republicans. All the Democrats are down there with their backs turned to the line. That's what we can expect. And I'm telling you right now, guys, I watched. So when they did when they made the rules right after they swore in the speaker, 2 days ago? Maybe 3 days ago? All the left did was complain and continue to do just run their socks like they normally do. YouTube is not allowing anything intelligent today. Ken. Oh, that's McCarty. I thought it was McCarthy. Holy snikey. Ken McCarty? Why do I know you? Ken McCarty. I gotta look that stuff up right now. I got a friend named Michael McCarty. Ken McCarty for Alaska. What do we got? Is this you? American politician is in the American Republican politician from Alaska. He represents the 13th District of Alaska of Representatives, 21 to 2023. Is this really you? Because, I mean, you got like a picture there, dude. Come on. It's got to be you. I need to find your picture. Nope, not me. Damn it. That's exactly what a politician would say. I need to find images. Find me an image of Ken McCarty. Oh, wow. No, that's not you, because this guy looks like a 1970s. This is crazy. Oh, that's Kim Steer. Never mind. Anyway, exactly what a politician would say. Wasn't me. Let's see here. I guess Debbie's checking in. Raven. Ironically, once everyone slowly experience the poor and middle class being crushed by tyrannical dictatorship of billionaires ruling the U.S. government, it just might unite us. Go figure. There's a lot of babble in that, Raven. It almost sounds like kind of almost centrist or centric leftist. But everybody's welcome here. I think it's just the way you worded it is all. Samantha says exactly what a politician would say. True. It's really tough looking at all these holes. It's truly tough looking at all these as a whole. I got you. Yeah. It's like everybody's like, "What's up, man? What's up? And then you got all the people that are over on the on the left, which would be the right side of the screen as you're looking at it, and they're just like, you know, and then they pretend, you know, oh, there's Raskin right there, man, that little bald-headed dude. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay, are you really gonna make Azul? You're gonna make me look that up? Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay. Let me see. Section 3, 14th Amendment. Let's see. What are we talking about? Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Previously taken oath as a member of Congress. Okay, we're going to go down that path. Well, you should probably know all of your facts instead of regurgitating left-leaning talk points. But all are welcome here, Azul. All are welcome here. Let's see here. Raven, thank you for the welcome. Yeah, no problem. No problem. And welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I don't care which side of the fence post you stand on. I just care that everybody speaks to each other civilly. And, you know, the only rule we have here is don't be a dick. That's it. That's it. Star, Canada. I have 2 Canadians in here that I know of. If you're from Canada, there might be 3 in here. There might be 3 in here. If you're from Canada, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see it. Ken says, Raskin, the ultimate judge over SCOTUS on the Constitution matters. Laugh out loud. Hope he's not serious. Yeah, he's a joke. The guy's a joke. You know, all these people, it's like so many people who are in Congress are lawyers, but it's like, were they even good lawyers? Well, look at the screen right there, okay, to our left as we look at it. She was the attorney general for an entire state, okay? She put more black men in jail, okay, than we brought over here in ships. Not a joke. And when I say we, I mean white guys, all right? Even though there were actually black slavers too. Actually, most slavers that were not on the continent of the United States were black. But anyway, different subject, different story. Where are we at here? Let's see here. Let's see. Dad is Canadian. Okay, cool. I like Canada. Ian's like 0.5. I like Canadian ladies. Who am I kidding? All females are beautiful. There you go.
The House come to order.
Mala is the original talk. No, dude, don't gross me out, okay? Don't gross me out. One thing's good until you mix it with another, and when you mix her with that, it becomes a bad thing, and that's not right. Oh, she's made some speeches drunk.
Pursuant to the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Senate and House of Representatives are meeting in joint session to verify the certificates and count the votes of the electors of the several states for President and Vice President of the United States.
Which you are not.
After ascertainment has been had that the certificates are authentic and correct
Trump is probably in Mar-a-Lago in front of a 55-inch or 75-inch widescreen TV, you know, holding a Diet Pepsi and eating McDonald's.
The tellers
not a joke.
on the
That's
part
where I'd
of
be.
the 2 houses will take their places at the clerk's desk.
Oh, she is. I don't know if she's an alcoholic, you know. I don't know if she's an alcoholic, but she likes to drink. There's no way. I watched her, last week, where the whole thing where everybody got, the whole thing that everybody got is that she didn't know the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay? But when you watch her body language, she's just like, and you know, you get that one drunk person, they're like, I'm fine. And then they're just like, they're wobbling, but they don't know they're wobbling. You know, that's the same guy that goes to the bathroom when he's drunk and pisses all over his feet and wonders how it happened.
Action.
I believe it, Bullseye.
Without objection, the tellers will dispense with reading formal portions of the certificates after ascertaining that the certificates
William, I couldn't turn that off.
in form and
It's going to happen about every half an hour. I couldn't turn that off.
Announce the votes cast by the electors. Mr. Speaker and members of Congress.
All right, I got something going on here. We got some double talk.
Pursuant to the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Senate and House of Representatives are meeting in joint session to verify the certificates.
The certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Alabama seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that
Hold on, guys.
After ascertainment has been had
9 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 9 votes
that one. It's
for
doing
vice
it. There we
president.
go. Figure that out. Boom. All right. There, now we won't miss anything. It's hilarious that you lot think Dems will try something.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Alaska
those are
seems
big
to
words,
be regular
Jennifer.
in form
Those are big
and
words.
authentic.
Thank you for
and
using
it appears
them.
therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 3 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 3 votes for vice president.
They're just coming up by state and giving the certification votes. They have to say specific words, open specific. If you look on the screen, they're like opening envelopes from the states that are certified.
Madam President,
Middle of the screen.
certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Arizona seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 11 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 11 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Arkansas seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 6 votes for vice president.
And in between speakers, going back to Alice, listen, here's the thing. We anticipate things are going to go wrong because the left makes things go
The certificate
wrong.
of the electoral vote of the state of California seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 54 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 54 votes for vice president.
And they just got some people randomly reading this stuff.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Colorado seems to be regular in form and authentic. And
I don't get to control what's happening, Grumpy.
Harris of the state of California received 10 votes for president, and
I
Tim
don't take the
Walz
shits,
of the
I
state
just
of
stir 'em,
Minnesota
right?
received 10 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Connecticut seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 7 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 7 votes for vice president.
If you guys haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do that now. Also, you might want to subscribe. I am here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Delaware seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 3 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 3 votes for vice president.
It's a very weird process.
Madam President,
how much have you made from Russian
of the
support
electoral
of
vote
the
of the
YouTube?
District of Columbia
Joe,
seems to be
I
irregular in
you probably
form
need to look
and
into my
authentic,
background
and it
before you
appears
say something
therefrom
like that.
that Kamala
But
D.
hey,
Harris
I
of the
mean,
state of California
you're an American. I hope
received
you're allowed to be
3
stupid.
votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 3 votes for vice president.
Grumpy, I think that they're just identified members of Congress that are reading them.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Florida seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 30 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 30 votes for vice president.
Rose, they're reading the certificates. I know, Ken. It's absolutely hilarious.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Georgia seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 16 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 16 votes for vice president.
Don't worry about it, Bradley. Slackers rule the world.
The certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Hawaii seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 4 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 4 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Idaho seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 4 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 4 votes for vice president.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for people that say things like that because they're literally just regurgitating a talking point that
Madam
they
President,
heard or
the
read someplace
certificate
else. That there's
of the
no
electoral
intelligent
vote of
thought
the
to it
state
at
of
all.
Illinois seems to be regular in form and authentic. And it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 19 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 19 votes for vice president.
Let me look it up for you.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Indiana seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 11 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 11 votes for vice president.
All right, so the D in her name, Kamala D. Harris, is Kamala Devi or Devi, D-E-V-I, Harris.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Iowa seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 6 votes for vice president.
No problem, William. By the way, if you're a member, you guys know you have
Madam
access to
President,
the special emojis,
the
right?
certificate of the electoral vote
This is
of
a
the
perfect
state
time
of
to use them.
Kansas seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 6 votes for vice president.
It's about right, Bradley. Wonder how much box wine Harris had with breakfast today. At least 1 box.
Madam
you
President,
found them.
The certificate of the electoral vote of the Commonwealth of Kentucky seems to be regular in form and authentic, and appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 8 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 8 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Louisiana seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 8 votes for president.
There we go.
And J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 8 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Maine seems to be regular in form and authentic.
It's like
and it
staring
appears
off into
therefrom that
nowhere.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 3 votes for president, and Donald J. Trump
Diva.
of the state of Florida received 1 vote for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 3 votes for vice president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 1 vote for vice president.
I'm not sure what the process is after they read all of these, but I think it's that's the part where they can like say they don't like it or
Madam
something.
President,
Why does
the
everybody run their suck?
certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Maryland seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 10 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 10 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
short, man.
seems to be regular
No,
in
this is the
form
government.
and
You don't do
authentic.
anything
And it
like
appears
that. That would make
therefrom
too much sense.
That Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 11 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota
Scott?
received 11 votes for vice
I
president.
might have 4 Canadians in here now. Congratulations on losing Trudeau today.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Michigan seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 15 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 15 votes for vice president. Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Minnesota seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 10 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 10 votes for vice president.
I'm not sure, Ken. I'm not sure. Contrast the look on Harris's face with that of Johnson. Well, yeah, I mean, when they show it, they're always like, it's like
Madam
she's
President,
standing there at
the
modified
certificate
parade
of the
dress and
electoral
stuff.
vote of the state of Mississippi seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 6 votes for vice president.
You know, looking at all those people in the background there, they don't look too happy.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Missouri seems to be regular in form and authentic. And it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 10 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 10 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Montana seems to be regular in form and authentic.
Oh,
and
Missouri.
It appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 4 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 4 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Nebraska seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 4 votes for president, and Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 1 vote for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 4 votes for vice president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 1 vote for vice president.
Harris is going to get plastered tonight. Oh. Well, they call her Madam President because she's the president of the Senate.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Nevada seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 6 votes for president, and J.D. Vance
wonder what the
of
magical
state
salt
of
shakers that are
Ohio
on that table are used
received
for.
6 votes for vice president.
Ever notice that?
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of New Hampshire seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California
That's
received
corn
4
liquor,
votes
man.
for president.
That's moonshine.
Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received
Salts for
4
the beer.
votes for vice president.
Hey, do me a favor, guys. The chat's dying down. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Kamala
Madam
needs a drink.
President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of New Jersey seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 14 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota
Ken, you sure are
received
impatient for a politician.
14 votes for vice president.
She needs about 4 drinks.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of New
salts across your
Mexico
shoulder
seems to
in
be
case
regular
something
in
goes
form
wrong.
and authentic. And it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 5 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 5 votes for vice president. Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of New York seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 28 votes for president. Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 28 votes for vice president.
Is the salt used to contain demons? Back evil. Back. Back to hell you go.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of North Carolina seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 16 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 16 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of North Dakota seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 3 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 3 votes for vice president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the
Yeah, I
state
saw
of
that too,
Ohio
Ian.
seems to be regular
Those are all the
and
original
authentic.
FedEx.
And it appears therefrom
That's how they
that
get 'em.
Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received
Yeah, fix
17
those thumbs
votes for
up, you
president,
slackers.
and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 17 votes for
call,
vice
Pilgrim.
president.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state of Oklahoma seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida received 7 votes for president, and J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio received 7 votes for vice president.
Yeah, let's use FedEx when we own the USPS.
Madam President, the certificate of the electoral vote of the state
I think
of
there's a
Oregon
reason for that.
seems to be regular in form and authentic, and it appears therefrom that Kamala D. Harris of the state of California received 8 votes for president, and Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota received 8 votes for vice president.